This episode is brought to you by Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 is the ultimate all-out warfare experience. Rip through the skies in aerial dogfights. Demolish your surroundings for a strategic advantage. Harness complete control over every action and movement using the kinesthetic combat system. Drop into multiplayer with your squad, or fight furiously as a member of the Dagger 1-3 squad in a gritty, adrenaline-fueled single-player campaign where you'll defend a world on the edge of collapse.
On October 29th.
Our son's new girlfriend's a former student.
Don't miss Anniversary.
You know, I used to be afraid of you. I don't think I am anymore.
Starring Diane Lane and Kyle Chandler.
We need to be careful.
She's trying to obliterate us.
Anniversary. Rated R.
Finished training for the day? Time to fight post-workout fatigue with Core Power Protein Shakes. They're packed with 26 grams of high-quality protein to build muscle and electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to help your body replenish, rebuild, and repair post-workout so you can power on to the next one. Champion your recovery with Core Power. Visit corepower.com to learn more.
Welcome to Horror Bytes on Safe Room, a show where we discuss the smaller scares and teenier terrors available to play on your gaming devices. Each week we pick one or two bite-sized horror games and have a super short and sweet chat about them. I'm Neil Bolt, and playing Squid Games with me this week is my co-host Jay Krieger. How are you doing, Jay?
I'm doing well, man. I am ready to navigate the very weird octopus-laden streets of Octopus City Blues.
Yeah, again, we cannot beat the aquatic horror accusations. The bias is very, very inherent at this point. But before we get into that, many of these games are free to play, but of course, if you enjoy them, please consider supporting the developers by donating, wishlisting their future projects, or just simply sharing the word about their games, because it all helps in building the next generation of horror game developers. And yeah, if you like the sound of what we played, show notes will always include a link to the game that we discussed. This week, though, we are heading to the last city in a frozen world, thanks to the delightfully monikered developer Ghost in a Bottle and its game Octopus City Blues. You play as a cowardly tentacle drummer named Kafkaharian, of course, and he resides in the last human city, which is built on a giant octopus. It's a vibrant, lurid world where all the worst of society is found on every corner, or tentacle in this case. It's not really a world of hope, that's for sure, and I suppose you'd best sort of imagine a carnival organised by an LSD salesman. It is always where I can think of it. But Jay, please tell us more about this game.
Yeah, so this is one of the beauties of Horror Bytes, as we've said many times, is just like stumbling upon something that the Steam page or the itch page kind of stands out to us, art style, genre, premise, what have you, and then can very quickly either devolve into something that's just like, oh, okay, this feels half-baked, or it can evolve into something like Octopus City Blues that is probably one of my most anticipated games now for 2026, just off of spending time with this demo, which is quite lengthy in the amount of time you can spend with it. It's like the first area, I probably spent about an hour just exploring literally every nook and cranny of this world. And you know, even based off of that brief description that you gave about what the game entails, it's a pretty difficult game to describe, just because it is so unlike literally anything else I've experienced, you know, whether it's the approach to the world, whether it's the blending of the gameplay. So I'll do my best to try to like summarize what this game is, but really it is one that is best for everyone to explore at their leisure with the Steam demo that is still currently available. So I would say that Octopus City Blues has a format not unlike 90s sort of JRPGs, right? Yeah. You have this top-down view. You can, you know, wander the very, very strange industrial hell that is Octopus City Blues, and you're going to be naturally interacting with various residents there and going on different quests and things like that. Now, your carnival LSD salesman sort of description of that is quite apt in that it speaks to the game's very vibrant color palette, but also just the general fucking weirdness of this game's world. The fact that there's people and that look strange and, like octopus people and strange looking individuals and quite literally like tentacles that are protruding from all manner of walls against this like metropolis industrial hell backdrop. And it's a world that is like teeming with an overabundance of like people and eccentricities. Try that again. Eccentric people and just like their weird nature of things. And ultimately, like, it is filled with a lot of witty humor, a lot of dark humor. It feels like every single thing that you interact with is begging to be interact with, whether it's a new character that you meet, or even if it's just like a filing cabinet in a part of the environment, because the dialogue here is so playful and so silly. And yeah, like within the opening moments of this game, you're dropped into, as you said, the cowardly shoes of Kafkarian. And he's basically in a job interview at like it's a meat substitute plant or something along those lines, except like instead of just answering normal questions, his boss is sending him to go buy Octoblood, which is this blood drug that is like plaguing the streets of Octopus City Blues. And then he's investigating like meat company competitors, and there may or may not be cannibalism involved. Like, it's a game that is taking so many strange twists and turns, but in the example of like all games that have these really weird worlds, it fully owns it. And it's not just for the sake of saying so, oh, hey, we can do this weird thing, when that's kind of like a fundamental part of the mechanics here, even, is that, you have these weird like pronouns that are being used for different types of objects and things like that. But then at the same time, like, you have a gossip system that plays into the dialogue system. So you're not only just like meeting these characters and having the typical sort of like dialogue interactions and choose your own path types of conversations you would have in, something reminiscent of a 90s RPG. But there's this gossip system that basically allows you to fine tune certain aspects of a conversation to either learn more about an individual. You can learn more about different missions and sort of things that you need to be doing in environments, or sometimes just learning like tidbits about the world itself to get more context for Octopus City Blues. So yeah, it's a game that like very early on is overwhelming, I think, and just like how foreign the world is, how out of sorts and odds you are with like the norm of how things are done here. But also it's one that I think like really lends itself to some interesting and hilarious avenues for storytelling and sort of like mission structure as well. So far what I've played, there was no combat in the traditional sense, but what I will say is that like there's an aspect of dialogue that has some tension to it. It's like you have to be maintaining Kaf's sort of like anxiety levels with dealing with characters. So lying will trigger that naturally. And then you see how that plays out in interactions with characters. But I'm really curious, what did you find about this? Did you think that Octopus City Blues was as intriguing as I did?
Yeah, I mean, it's straight away catches your eye, doesn't it? Because of that visual style. It's like, it evokes so many things from like certain 90s sort of Nickelodeon cartoons, like to Tim Burton, to Double Fine games, everything in there, and those are all like, obviously products of my youth, if you will. So they invoke a certain kind of nostalgia. But I don't know, it's the premise alone just sets up so many interesting things here. And we were saying last week, when you can have that in where you take basic reality stuff and like really stretch it into comically absurd if you want, and it's great because it's got that basis in reality. And there's so many different bits around the octopus, like you said, about like the whole drug culture and like all these sort of the transport being like parasites, basically, things like that, like
giant centipedes and whatnot.
Yeah, and it's just like it's the whole feel of it is like you can tell that this is a game with like anxiety at the center of it, because just everything just screams at you to just like keep quiet and not make it get louder, sort of thing. Like everything is so colourful in that sickly way that you do just look at it and go, oof, yeah, this could get louder. Which is like, as much as you kind of want to see it, like it's you kind of end up in the shoes of Calf, because you do just think, oh, Christ, no, I don't want to make this worse, sort of thing like that, because everything about this place just feels like it could get worse at the drop of a hat. It's like, and that's a really intriguing thing about it. Like, I mean, the snippets they sort of shown off like beyond what's in this demo, like, do intrigue me as well, because it's definitely teasing an even wilder sort of side to this stuff. But as an introduction to this game, like it really does set that stall out, like in terms of like telling you what kind of world this is, what kind of terrible place this is. But because it's so vibrant, because it's so unique, it's not like most sort of dystopian sort of near apocalyptic games in that regard. It does, as much as it evokes certain things, it very much feels like its own thing too. Like it catches your eye for those reasons, but I think also because of that, beyond that, it just has like the humor you would expect for that, and yeah, it's a trip. That's the best way to put it. It just like, and one that you kind of want to carry on with, I suppose, but even if it won't be good for you in that regard. But I'm really digging what they've put into this so far. Yeah, hopefully, I mean, it's 2026, isn't it, that it comes out? So yeah, of course. Well, we're fucking October, so of course.
It's one of those games that I think it has such a strong showing, and you start to get a sense of like what this game can entail, but then by the very end of it, and as you said, you get to see a couple of snippets of like what the future for this could hold. It's a game where you very clearly are just scratching the surface of what is possible in a world where anything seems possible, which I think is really exciting. And just seeing how much further down this deranged rabbit hole we can get, whether it's the art style or the various characters you're going to meet, is just really, really exciting. And like I said, it's easily one of my most anticipated games already for the next year.
I'm intrigued to see how that sort of anxiety and gossiping stuff plays into the long game, because they do describe it as being something that has long-term consequences, and of course you don't really get to see that in a chunky play. But I'm very intrigued to see how that sort of progresses, and because I mean I feel it already, but like I'd like to see what the outcome actually is from that when we do get it. But that is it for this week. As ever, Jay, thank you for talking about these short horror games with me. And if you, the listener, have a short horror game, a demo, a game jam entry, or a proof of concept that you think we should be highlighting, you can email us at saferoompod@gmail.com. Or, Jay?
People can follow us over on Blue Sky for show updates at SaferoomPod.
There you go. Many thanks. And we will be back with more small-scale horror next week.